Hey guys, welcome to Pages with Sidra. Today, we're starting chapter 536 of I Have 90 Billion Licking Gold Coins. If you haven't watched the previous chapters, make sure to check them out on my channel. Now, without any delay, let's dive into the chapter. After waiting for days without catching a glimpse of Qin Yuan, Xiantian medicine ancestor finally came up with a new plan. If I can't find that brat outside, then I'll sneak into his house disguised as a staff member. As long as I lay eyes on him, he'll be a dead man. There's no way he can escape under my watch. With this in mind, he decided to apply for the janitor position. As a janitor, he wouldn't raise any suspicion and would have plenty of chances to get close to Qin Yuan. It was much better than waiting aimlessly. Thus, Xiantian medicine ancestor took the job posting and went to apply. To his surprise, there were quite a few applicants. As soon as the job listing was posted, 5 people competed for the position. Soon, however, medicine ancestor was eliminated. The reason? He didn't meet the requirements. The medicine ancestor was utterly furious. The dignified ancestor of medicine lowered his status and ran to a shabby manor to apply for a cleaner position, but he didn't even get the job. If people knew about this, wouldn't his reputation be ruined? Fortunately, no one knew. How utterly humiliating. All this just to sweep the floor? They require at least a high school diploma? Identification documents? A clean criminal record? A health certificate too? What a load of nonsense. How could I possibly have any of these? Is it really this troublesome to find a job nowadays? In the end, a day later, Xiantian medicine ancestor still managed to sneak into the Qin family estate disguised as a janitor. Such trivial obstacles couldn't possibly stop him. All he had to do was pick the right target from the newly hired janitors. Straight to work. On his first day, a junior supervisor assigned him to clean the toilets. The old master nearly exploded on the spot. He almost tore the supervisor apart in his fury. But he held back, reminding himself that any reckless action would alert the enemy. I just need to endure for a day or two at most. Once I confirm there are no traps, I'll kill Qin Yuan immediately. Half an hour later, the medicine ancestor finally finished scrubbing the toilets. You there, Wu Ning. Go clean the courtyard. I'll endure. Wu Ning, move the flower pots. I'll endure. Wu Ning, empty the trash cans. I'll endure. Wu Ning, how many times do I have to tell you? Be proactive in your work. Don't just stand around waiting for me to give orders. Use some initiative. I'll endure. I'll endure. I'll endure. If he kept enduring like this, he'd turn into a freaking ninja turtle. Just as Xiantian medicine ancestor was about to snap, an opportunity finally arose. Wu Ning, Zhangsan, Li Ergu, you 3, come with me to clean the golf course. Work hard because the big boss is playing golf there. Don't let him see you slacking. Otherwise, I'll deduct your performance pay. The junior supervisor nagged endlessly. Xiantian medicine ancestor's eyes gleamed with a murderous glint. Shortly after, they pushed the trash cart and arrived at the golf course. Still no sign of Qin Yuan. At that moment, the sky suddenly filled with a deafening roar. Looking up, a fleet of more than 10 military-grade attack helicopters descended upon them. The overwhelming scene left Xiantian medicine ancestor utterly dumbfounded. Wait, have I been exposed again? Could that brat Qin Yuan really have such a sharp sense of danger? No, something's off. These people don't seem to be here for me. They might not even see through my disguise. More than a dozen military-grade attack helicopters landed on the estate's secondary helipad. Meanwhile, Qin Yuan had just finished soaking in the hot spring and was preparing to head to the golf course for some exercise. The estate's chief steward, Amy, walked directly up to him. Boss, the people from the 9th Bureau have arrived. All right then, let me get changed first. You go ahead and greet them. Understood, boss. The incident where 500 foreign agents were wiped out in the Qin estate had yet to be fully resolved. The matter was far too serious for anyone to handle on their own. It could only be handed over to the 9th Bureau for a specialized investigation. The 9th Bureau had already contacted Qin Yuan. They had reviewed the surveillance footage and conducted a technical analysis, confirming that there were no traces of computer-generated manipulation. At the same time, the leadership of the 9th Bureau extended their respect and admiration to Dongshan medicine elder. They even wanted to recruit him into the 9th Bureau. Position? Terms? He could name them. As long as it was within their power, they'd grant him anything he wanted. However, Qin Yuan had politely declined on behalf of his master. He explained that his master had always been indifferent to fame and fortune, preferring a life of tranquility. Moreover, The old man was elusive, rarely appearing, and even Chan Yuan himself couldn't always reach him, so he had no way to make decisions on his behalf. But the Ninth Bureau was clearly unwilling to give up. No matter what, they insisted on inviting Dongxian Medicine Elder to serve as the Ninth Bureau's supreme guest minister. Thus, the Bureau's leader personally traveled to Duntian New City, arriving at the Qin estate under the escort of more than a dozen attack helicopters. A moment later, a tall and imposing elder, approximately in his 50s, exuding righteousness, stepped off one of the helicopters. The moment his feet touched the ground, a squad of dozens of fierce-looking young operatives immediately surrounded him in a protective formation. Behind the elder was a young man with sunglasses, arms crossed, his face filled with arrogance. His aura was extraordinary, radiating the unmistakable presence of a top-tier martial expert. The most striking thing about him, however, was the ancient sword strapped to his back. Its design was so unique that it was impossible not to take a second glance. Among a group of heavily armed soldiers wielding rifles and submachine guns, this lone man carrying an ancient sword stood out like a sore thumb. The group walked past Xiantian Medicine Ancestor without paying him any attention. But at that very moment, the young man suddenly sensed something off. His sharp gaze shot toward Xiantian Medicine Ancestor. With just one glance, he felt his very soul tremble. Cold sweat instantly poured down his back. This. How is this possible? A dignified fourth-tier expert, working as a janitor in the Qin estate. This is absolutely terrifying. He was shaken, truly shaken to his core. Before arriving at the Qin estate, he had been skeptical. As the top-ranked enforcer of the Ninth Bureau, Dongfang Pa had never submitted to anyone in his life. But now, in this small city, at this unassuming estate, he had just been completely stunned by a janitor. This was beyond ridiculous. A fourth-tier expert, an existence that stood at the pinnacle of martial prowess. No matter where such an individual went, they would be revered as a high-ranking master. And yet, here in the Qin estate, he was just a janitor? This was absolute madness. Mr. Dongfang, did you notice something? Yes, Director. That janitor just now, he's a fourth-tier expert. The moment those words left his lips, the entire scene fell into utter shock. Everyone trembled in fear. Forcing a fourth-tier expert to sweep the floors, wasn't that outright disrespect? How could an existence of such caliber tolerate such humiliation? There was only one possibility. The Qin estate harbored power strong enough to effortlessly suppress a fourth-tier expert. Could it be a fifth-tier expert? Was Dongshen Medicine Elder actually a fifth-tier powerhouse? Did such beings truly exist in this world? This was the stuff of myths, only recorded in ancient history. Their scalps tingled with fear. When we meet Mr. Qin Yuan later, you all better be respectful. Leave your bureaucratic arrogance behind. Also, if we can convince that janitor elder to join the bureau as a guest minister, this trip will be well worth it. Huh? Wait a minute. Where did that elder go? He just disappeared in the blink of an eye. The bureau chief was utterly baffled. Meanwhile, hiding behind a corner, Xiantian Medicine Ancestor broke into a cold sweat. He was shaken. Who the hell is this brat Qin Yuan? Why do such powerful figures gather at his estate? That young man just now, did he see through my disguise? He must have. His gaze was as sharp as a blade, and he carried an overwhelming presence. Definitely a fourth-tier expert. If I weren't injured, I might not fear him, but right now, I haven't fully recovered. If I fight him now, I might suffer a loss. Besides, I'm outnumbered. If they all gang up on me, I better not make a move for now. Once these people leave, I can deal with Qin Yuan at my leisure. Xiantian Medicine Ancestor decided to bide his time and wait for the right moment. Meanwhile, Qin Yuan was playing golf with the Ninth Bureau's leader, Yuan Hongjun. Director Yuan, you're quite good at golf. Haha, just an old man's hobby. Can't compare to you young folks. Mr. Qin, has Dongshen Elder considered our offer? I assure you, if he joins the Ninth Bureau, he will hold the highest guest minister rank. As a guest minister, he won't be bound by any rules. He'll even have special privileges. He can act first and report later. As long as he doesn't endanger national security or society, he'll have an official status and complete freedom. Our only request is that, if the country faces a true crisis, he will step up when needed. He won't be required to deal with minor issues. Yuan Hongjun spoke sincerely. Even Qin Yuan felt slightly tempted. Act first, report later? That's quite an appealing privilege. But of course, the best part is that Dongshen Medicine Elder doesn't even exist. He won't be bound by anything at all. If I want to act, Dongshin Elder will appear. If I don't, then he simply vanishes. Qin Yuan pretended to think seriously for half an hour. Director Yuan, will there be an official government ID for joining the Ninth Bureau? Of course. Our special identification allows us to take charge in critical situations. Oh, I see. Well, I personally support my master joining the Ninth Bureau, but unfortunately, I can't make decisions on his behalf. Then can you call him? I'd like to speak with Dongshin Elder directly, but I don't have my master's number. He never carries a phone. Then how do you communicate with him? When he wants to find me, he appears. When he doesn't, I have no way of reaching him. Director Yuan, why don't you stay at my estate for a while? My master visits me every now and then, sometimes in 2 or 3 days, sometimes a week. You might as well wait here. All right, I'll stay for a few days. But I have official duties, so I hope Dongshin Elder appears soon. And just like that, the Ninth Bureau settled into the estate's villa. Mr. Dongfang, based on what you saw today, do you think Qin Yuan could be Dongshin Elder? Unlikely. I didn't sense any powerful aura from him. He hasn't even unlocked his first-tier gene lock. How could he possibly be a fifth-tier powerhouse? But if Qin Yuan is truly the disciple of a fifth-tier expert, why is he still at such a low level? My guess? Because he's rich. He has achieved unprecedented success in business, and the resources needed to cultivate a powerhouse are unimaginable. He might not be Dongshin Elder's personal disciple, just a secular representative. But his achievements in the business world prove he's highly valued. That makes sense. Although Qin Yuan is young, professional analysts say his business strategies are textbook-level genius. His ability to control the bigger picture is astonishing. Even I have to admire him. What seems like a string of coincidences is actually the result of careful planning. He's definitely a top-tier strategist. Agreed. Director Yuan is absolutely right. Dongfang nodded in agreement. Just earlier, Qin Yuan had hosted a lavish banquet for all the Ninth Bureau personnel. During the feast, he announced that he would donate 10 billion yuan as a housing subsidy for Ninth Bureau agents. From now on, Ninth Bureau members could use this fund to offset housing costs. The moment he said this, everyone's attitude toward him changed. Before, some of them resented the fact that he lived in such a luxurious estate. Now, he was their best buddy. Instant camaraderie. Why aren't these people leaving? How am I supposed to make my move now? Xiantian medicine ancestor was beyond frustrated. With Qin Yuan getting along so well with the Ninth Bureau's elites, he still hadn't found a chance to strike. Meanwhile, Yao Qing'an had been waiting for days. But the old ancestor never returned. Worried that something had happened to him, she disguised herself and secretly infiltrated the area near the Qin estate. Strange, I haven't heard any news about the Qin manor lately. Where exactly did the old ancestor go? While Yao Qing'an was feeling anxious, she suddenly noticed a recruitment notice posted on the outer wall near the entrance of the Qin Manor. Hiring, manor service staff. Main duties, serving tea and water, making beds, following orders from superiors, and attending to the boss. Salary, 15,000 to 20,000. Requirements, height above 165 centimeters, attractive appearance, well-proportioned figure, friendly demeanor, polite, and hardworking. That's it for today's chapter recap. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest manga, manhwa, and manhwa recaps. Got thoughts on today's chapter? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on the story. Also, if you know other fans who were reading this manhwa but stopped because it got axed, share this video with them. The more support we get, the more motivation we'll have to keep making these videos. See you in the next one. Until then, keep turning the pages.